Hi, I'm Jason Sterling. I'm a member of the EA Creator Network, and today we're using a very special early access beta copy of The Sims 4 Royalty and Legacy, the next expansion pack for The Sims 4. Beta copy, of course, means that it is not finished. We got an unfinished version of the game. Now, it looks completely finished. You're not going to notice anything that's not finished. But we do let people know that in case you do notice something that's not finished, you'll know that, hey, it's still got several weeks left before it's going to hit the market. Now, as I said in the videos I've done as a builder, the 3 videos I've done, I've not had any problems. So in this video as well, you're not going to see any problems. It's just me building. But there is that disclosure, fair disclosure, right? So we're going to go ahead here. Let's get rolling. We're going to go ahead and jump into this build. Now, this is an apartment. It's one of the apartments in this new neighborhood of Dambele. My favorite neighborhood. I love this neighborhood. Oh, I'm so in love with it. It's probably where I'm primarily going to play when I'm playing with this pack in this particular world. I made this apartment for a very special person, for a very special sim. It's a sim I'm going to use a lot during my gameplay of this particular world as well as particular pack. I'm going to put some pictures here. We'll put some pictures of her up. Her name is Juliet Burgess. Now, she is an American, a Sim-American, right? A Sim-American. And she's used the Simnistry website to trace her genetic history and her legacy, right? Her family history. And it traces back here to Dambele. And she has uncovered kind of proof that, you know, she might have connection to the royal family. So she's come back to research that. And, you know, maybe, just maybe, because it's the Sims, right? Just maybe she'll reclaim that heritage, kind of reclaim her family's position here, this extended branch and arm of the family that, I mean, we'll be honest, right, would have been brought to America, not immigrated naturally, but brought to America in servitude, you know, several hundred years ago. So I thought that would be an interesting story to play, right? Like an interesting backstory to play. And so that's who she is. And I really do like her. I do say so. I don't create a whole lot of female Sims. I'm a gay guy, and I tend to make a lot of male Sims. And in fact, I think I've made 5 male Sims already for this game, and I made her, right? But I do think she's the one I'm going to play with, and I have a whole story. If I have time, I would love to do an actual storyline, a video storyline of her. I don't know that I'll have time, but if I do, I'd love to. I do have a whole storyline kind of built up in my head of her adventures when she comes here, but I'm going to use her for the gameplay in the game, kind of see how it goes. How it's going here is we're working on the kitchen. God, it took me forever on this kitchen. I love apartments. I've built a lot of apartments in San Myshuno. I had this idea in my head of what I wanted this kitchen to look like, and I don't know. I didn't really get kind of what I was thinking, not really. And I'm not sure. You know how when you see something in your head and you think, that's beautiful. That's just fantastic. I'm a genius. And then you start building it out and you're like, what is, this doesn't look right. This isn't what I want. This isn't what I wanted. Well, that's how that went. And if you've been watching here, as I'm talking and you're still watching, you see I'm still screwing around with this kitchen, trying to get this kitchen exactly where I want. Now, part of the reason was that the stove there has a built-in kind of vent hood to it, which I love the stove. I love this red. The red's really pretty. The cabinetry is really pretty. I mean, it's a gorgeous set, right, for the kitchen. We get a full kitchen set with this expansion pack, and I adore it. I love it. So the stove, though, it needs to be placed against a wall. It couldn't really be put into the island like I was originally thinking about. And I knew it had a built-in vent hood, and still in my head when I'm thinking about it, I'm thinking, I'm going to put it in the island, right? So that's kind of how that how that took so long. And then with the placement of the windows, I did not want the stove and the refrigerator side by side between the windows. And I also didn't want the kitchen to be too long and spread out along the windows. So you can see what I did there. That's what I arrived at, what we're looking at right now, of course. And I think that actually works really well. I'm very, very happy with it. The apartment, I don't even remember if it was 2 bedrooms or 1 bedroom. I cannot remember. I think it might have been a 2-bedroom apartment, but I went ahead and turned it into a 1-bedroom studio. I wanted it to be very open. I played around a lot with the walls around the kitchen. You'll see that, as we go through this video too, where the wall that's between the kitchen and what would be the bedroom area, I've made it solid. I made it columns. I did all this stuff to it, trying to arrive at this sort of perfect sort of image and view, because I did not want the bedroom to feel hemmed in. I didn't want the apartment to be broken up into a lot of little rooms. I wanted this sort of grand, spacious space. And in some ways, this is not really a palatial residence, right? But I kind of wanted that feeling like when you walk into either the smaller sort of royal residence that I was up first on my channel, or the throne room, the palace, right, that I did second. I wanted that same sort of feeling because she's also, like I said, she's also royalty. She's also got this royal lineage. Just because she's just now discovering it doesn't mean it isn't true. And so I wanted that feeling when you walk into this apartment of this space, this grand open space that gives that sort of sense of presence. And, space is sometimes money. The more space you can afford, the wealthier you are, because the more it costs, especially in a city. So that's what I wanted. I wanted to have this sort of feeling of space and grandeur. I wanted a sort of grandeur because she's a very grand character. And she's a very noble character. I know we're doing a build video here. I don't want to spend too much time on cast creation, but she's a very noble character. She is. She has that sort of ingrained, nobility about her. It's a very noble character. So I did want her space, her living space, to kind of reflect that sort of nobility. And I think it does. I'm pretty happy with it. It's small. There's only so much I'm going to be able to do, but I'm pretty happy with it. I do fit a lot in here. And in fact, I want to do more with the exterior space. We have a pretty good size balcony off this apartment. And I want to put someplace out there for tea, right? For tea. Now, we don't have access to it yet because this, again, was a very early access beta copy of this pack. But if you buy this pack by March the 15th, once it does come out, you get 2 kits, for free with it. And one of them is for tea. So I've been setting up all these places to have tea, like all over Dambele. Or Dambele. I got to try to pronounce it right. I think it's Dambele. All over Dambele, I've been setting up all these places for tea and these places that I've built, these sort of homes that I've built. And I want to set out a really lovely place out on the balcony. So that's not included in this video. And it'll be relatively simple. I don't know that it's really something that, it's going to be a table and chairs, right? Maybe like a sort of coffee table, which is actually low tea. If you have tea on a coffee table, like say on your sofa, that's considered low tea. And if you have tea at a table where you're sitting, right, a normal dining style type table, that's high tea. If you're ever curious about what the difference is between those two terms, that's the only difference, is that one is on a low table, one's on a higher table. So I've thought about doing kind of a low tea out there. The bathroom here, you can see, I at first wanted to use the corner tub. Then I decided the corner tub was too big and I was going to use just your normal tub and shower insert. And then I decided that was too ugly. That was too ugly. I do not like that tub and shower insert. That's not to say I don't have one in my own home, but I don't like it. And so I took it out, and I ended up putting the corner tub back in here, and actually think it works really well. Even though it's a small bathroom, only one sink and the toilet and the tub, I do think it feels like it would fit there and like it works okay. We set up a little sort of closet area here, a wardrobe with some dressing tables next to it. And you can see how we kind of put the bed in its own sort of area, but it's still very much open so that it doesn't feel hemmed in and the apartment doesn't feel too compartmentalized. Also on the back of the bed there, that pony wall, I used the new windows, which I adore. Said it already in 2 videos. I think both of them I commented that. The long sort of African-inspired windows are fantastic. They work great for fencing. They work great for partitions in the house, like screens there. They work great as windows. They're absolutely fantastic. I've also said probably in the last 2 videos, I'm sure I have at some point, I absolutely adore all of the African-inspired things in this particular pack and this African-inspired world. I love it, love it, love it. Oh my God, I love it so much. I love Tangiers, in fact. And so in particular, I love this particular world. It's always going to break my heart forever. Like 10 years from now, if The Sims 4 is still going on, I'm still going to be talking about how my heart was broken that we didn't get a fully African world, just a neighborhood, because I love diversity. And this neighborhood, it feels so different. It finally feels so new. It feels like we got something new, right? Not just a variation on the same thing. It feels like we got something new. I really, really do like it. And I love the way these sort of patterns and the way this stuff goes together in the builds I've done so far, including this apartment. This is the last build that I've done so far. I do have an idea for another sort of small royal residence. I have an idea for a market. I don't know. There's only so many lots in Dambele. There's only so many lots in Dambele, right? So I don't know what we're going to be able to do. I know I could do the royal residence or the market, but probably not either. Probably not both. I could also do the other apartment. In this particular building, there's 2. I love apartments. I do love apartments. So I could do the other apartment, and I might do that, but we'll see. I really want to get into gameplay because I haven't been able to do very much so far. I've been building so much. So, oh, and I guess I am working a little bit on the balcony. You can see there, I put a rug out there. Did do something. I put a rug out there. Maybe I'm anticipating a cat is going to jump up there and needs a nice soft rug to lay on, right? Keep himself warm on the chilly desert nights. But so far, I've been so busy building, especially like that palace and the smaller royal home. This took forever, that I haven't had much time for gameplay. I've done a little bit, and so far I have really enjoyed it. It is fun, at least so far. We've got a lot to go through to test this one out, right? We've got a lot to go through. But we don't have any more of this build to go through. The still shots should already have come through. There's not very many of them because it is a small residence. So they might actually already be done by now. I'll include, of course, a couple of shots of that finished balcony for T for 2 or 4, however many I put out there. And please hit like, subscribe, and notify. I will have more, like I said, gameplay coming next. I typically do gameplay as I record it when I'm playing, and then I go back and do a little bit of a sarcastic, a little bit of a satirical voiceover about what's happening, kind of like I do with the trailers. Usually usually pretty lighthearted and easygoing. At some point, I got to make a oubliette in one of my builds so I can throw Nancy Landgraf down it and teach her a lesson about abandoning her son. I do need to do that. That's on my list. It's on my list. So at some point in gameplay, I got to get there. And I might do some live streams building out the second royal residence. That might be what I do for live streaming. So those will be coming up as we roll on now. The embargo's done. Also, let me just say, it should not be very much longer. And the entire creator network will have early access, like full early access to the completed game, right? Shouldn't be very much longer. So I don't know if they've announced it yet. I don't know if they've announced it yet, but it shouldn't be all that much longer. So when those creators have access, be sure and check out their videos and stuff too. because they'll have a completely different take on it. And it's always good to see what everyone thinks. So that's it. Please hit like, subscribe, and notify. Join me with the rest of this stuff coming up through the next couple of weeks. And until next time, thanks for watching.